Hi everyone, welcome. FPL Matt Day here. This is my live team selection for game week 26, as well as some Q&A. And also just going to run through this week's fixtures, some differentials and captains as well. We are 1 hour until the deadline. It's 9 p.m. here in Australia. So 1 hour until deadline, and 2 hours until kickoff in the first game as well between Manchester City and Newcastle. Before I get going, if you can please like the stream, comment, get your questions in ready for the deadline, and subscribe if you are new here and you like what you see. What I'll do, I'm going to share screen and go through the fixtures first. I'll run through those. Then I'll go into my team selection. I'll let you know my transfers and the moves that I have made. And then I'll go through some differentials and captains just at the end of the stream. And any questions that come in throughout the stream, I will go through as well. If you are watching this on Twitch or on Twitter, come onto the YouTube and get your comments in on there as well if you are watching it on there. So yeah, get all of your questions in ready for the stream. I'll bring up some comments that have come in just before I go into the fixtures. Football Ferreira, ever present on the podcast, watches every single week. He can't wait for this, and he's been waiting since 4 a.m. So yeah, unbelievable stuff. Thanks again for the support. Welcome to the stream, Matt Cowling as well. Great to see you in the stream. So if you do have any questions, get them in. But let's get straight into the fixtures this week. So we'll start off with that first game between Manchester City and Newcastle. So that is the early kickoff. I'm only going to briefly run through the fixtures this week. I'll just give a quick prediction and a player to look out for. It's all about the team selection tonight as we get closer to deadline. So that Man City Newcastle game, Newcastle coming off the back of a disappointing defeat in the League Cup final. I feel like they're just coming towards the end of their good run. I'm backing Man City to win this week. I think it'll be 3-0. I know Newcastle don't let many goals in. They keep it tight. I think City are a different beast at home. So for me, I think Haaland obviously remains a good pick. If you've got De Bruyne, I think you keep him this week. And I think Phil Foden is a really good pick for City this week. So I think they'll win that one. And then next up there, it's the 3 o'clock kickoffs in England. You got Arsenal versus Bournemouth. Arsenal are big favourites for this. Obviously, beat Everton convincingly in the week. They seem to be disposing of these kind of relegation type of sides quite easily. So I think Arsenal will win this game. I think it'll probably be about 3-0. Saka's obviously a popular choice. So I think Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, and obviously any Arsenal defenders such as Zinchenko seems to be the popular picks this week. So 3-0 to Arsenal. Then we've got Aston Villa versus Palace. This is an interesting one. Palace haven't won, I think, for about 11 games now. So they've not been on the best run. Villa have been very up and down with Emery. I think they'll win this. Watkins is a man on form, so he's definitely one to look out for, along with Buendia. So I think Villa will win this by 2-1. Then we got Brighton West Ham. This is another really popular FPL fixture. There's obviously so many game weeks. Double game weeks for Brighton coming up, game week 27 and game week 29. West Ham are in a bit of a relegation scrap at the moment. I think Brighton will win, but I think it will be tight. I'm going to go with 1-0 to Brighton. Obviously, the likes of Mitoma, Ferguson and Solly March will remain good picks in this. Solly March is fit to play, and so is Estupinan. So keep your eyes out on them. If you do own those assets, start them because they are fit to play this week. And then next up, we've got Chelsea versus Leeds. Chelsea are another team under a lot of pressure. They're not winning games. Leeds need to win. This fixture kind of has sort of a 1-0 Leeds written all over it, really, with the form that Chelsea are in. I can see it being that, maybe 1-0 Leeds or 0-0. Really tough to call. There's probably not any players in this fixture right now that I would recommend. If you do have Kepa, I'd probably say just play him this week because I think it could be a tight game. Let's go to Wolves versus Spurs. Obviously, Spurs is the team that I support, coming off the back of a disappointing FA Cup game. Conte still not on the sidelines there. It's tough to predict. I did read a stat today that a Wolves striker has not scored now for over 12 months. So that's the likes of Diego Costa, Jimenez. They've now got Cunha. So it wouldn't surprise me if one of them breaks that barrier against Spurs. They don't score many goals, though. This has got 1-1. or 2-1 to Spurs written all over it. But I do think Harry Kane remains a good choice. Emerson Royale as well. Then we've got Southampton versus Leicester. This is one where Saints really need the win at home. I think from an FPL point of view, we've all got our eyes on James Maddison with the double game week in game week 29 for Leicester. I think Leicester will win this. I'm going to back them to win by 2-1. Probably would still play Kepa over Danny Ward, though, if you're making that decision. Then we've got Nottingham Forest versus Everton. This is another one that is probably quite big for FPL because there's still quite a few of us with Everton players, from the last double game week in 25. I'm going to start Tarkowski. You'll see that when I do my team selection shortly. But yeah, again, I can see this being a tight game, maybe a 1-0 Forest, 1-0 Everton. So I'll back the 1-0 either way. But again, I'll probably be avoiding this game, in terms of trying to bring players into your team. But you can always start Tarkowski. He's always a threat from set pieces. Then we got our last two games of this game week. We've got Liverpool versus Man United, which is obviously a really big derby match. Man United do struggle at Anfield. Liverpool have picked up a couple of wins lately. Man United are obviously on form, fresh off their cup win. I will go with maybe a 2-2 draw in this. I actually can see there being goals from both sides. I normally back Liverpool at Anfield in this game as well. But maybe I'll go with the score draw, 2-2. Obviously, the likes of Salah, Rashford, Darwin Núñez, all looking like they're hitting form again. So I'll go with 2-2 in that one. And then the last game, we've got Brentford versus Fulham. Brentford are on a really good unbeaten run at the moment. They've obviously got that news about Ivan Toney and his ban that has come out recently. But I do think Brentford will get something out of this game and win this. So I'll back them to win by 2-0. Fulham have obviously been really impressive this season. But I think Brentford will win it. I think Toney will grab at least a goal in this one. And maybe something from a set piece, from a Ben Mee, or maybe even a Pinnock as well. Because a lot of people are picking Brentford players ready for the double game week next week. So that's my roundup of the fixtures for this week. Let's go straight into my team selection here. So here is my team. Scroll up here. Let's start with my keeper. So as you can see there, I've gone with Kepa in goal with the Leeds game there. It's come up as a green fixture for Kepa with this Leeds game. Probably is more of a sort of a white fixture at the moment for Chelsea with their form. But Kepa has still been getting some impressive scores of late. So, yeah, look, he's my number one. You'll see as I go through my team, it's between him and Danny Ward. I've got to play Kepa in this. As you can see here, the FPL Tools has predicted 3.8 expected points there from Kepa. So, yeah, look, I would love to get a clean sheet from him in this. But if he does come out with sort of 3 points or even 4, if he gets extra saves, I'll probably take that as well, considering Chelsea's form. Let's go on to my defense. So I'll go through my back three. So we'll start with Ben White from Arsenal. I think that's a fairly obvious pick. They've got the Bournemouth game at home. Arsenal have kept back-to-back clean sheets. His expected points are 4.2 as well. So he has to start in this one at home to Bournemouth. Obviously, I just said in the score predictions, I think Arsenal will win 3-0. So Ben White in there for me. Let's hope he doesn't get rotated for Tomiyasu. And then in the middle there, I've got Tarkowski. It's a tough one to pick him after Everton getting demolished by Arsenal and also losing to Villa. And it's a tough pick. But he does have 4.8 for his expected points. And these are the games that Everton really will be looking at trying to win to survive. They could scrape a 1-0. They could easily lose 1-0 as well. But he stays in the back three. I think, he got me 0 last week, so I want to keep him for this week. And then my final defender is Ben Mee. So I bring him in as I've done 2 transfers, so I've taken a -4. So Ben Mee has come in for me. Trent Alexander-Arnold, who did so well for me in the double game week, is out. And Ben Mee is in. He's got 5.3 expected points there. He's got the green fixture against Fulham. Always a set piece threat. He's the 5th top scoring defender in FPL this season. So he's in there ready for double game week 27 and double game week 29. And he also plays in blank game week 28. So that was the justification for bringing him in. Trent's game against United's tough. He does play a good fixture in 27 against Bournemouth, but he misses game week 28, and he's got a tougher double in game week 29. So that's why Ben Mee is in there. Before I go into my midfield, I'll bring up a couple more comments. I had Football Ferreira in the comments as always, and he just said he thinks Leeds will destroy Chelsea. So not the not what I wanted to hear with my goalkeeper being Kepa, but at the same time, it's always nice to see Chelsea lose games. Welcome to the stream, Lexich. Do I have any differentials? I do. I've got a few differentials to go through. So once I've done my team selection, I will go through my differentials as well. So stay tuned. If you have just tuned in, please like this video, subscribe if you're new here as well, and get your comments in. There's going to be a Q&A as well. So if we do get any questions, I will go through them at the end of the stream too. So keep getting your questions in. I will have differentials and captains for you very, very shortly. Akash, welcome to the stream, mate. What I'll do is I'll go through your question shortly once I've done my team selection. So stay in the stream and I will go through your question. Let's go into my midfield. So as you can see on that far side, Rashford is in there. He's got a very generous 10.3 points expected against Liverpool, which I think is really generous. He does score in this fixture, but it tends to be at Old Trafford. Yeah, look, I'd be happy from an FPL point of view if he does get 10.3 points. But of course, with his form, he has to stay in my lineup. Then alongside him there, March at home to West Ham with 5 expected points. He is fit, so he's been confirmed fit to play. He stays in my lineup. And then on the far side, I've got Odegaard, 5.2 expected points. Bournemouth at home, obvious pick for me. And then alongside him there, Saka with 14.6 points expected as captain. Captain's armbands on him. And look, I'll go through my captains shortly, my sort of captains for the week. And I'm going Saka, I think, because it's the fixture, it's the home fixture. His expected points are good. Arsenal are on form, especially when they're playing against these sort of lower end, bottom end teams. They do seem to beat them quite convincingly. So Saka gets the nod because of that. So that is my midfield. Let's go into my attack. So I've got a front three here. Haaland, as you can see there, 5.3 expected points against Newcastle. I do think he scores in this one. I think he remains a good captain shout. We know how strong he can be at home. The amount of hat-tricks as well. Is it four hat-tricks he's now got at home this season? We know how deadly he can be, regardless of who he plays. So Haaland's in there. He was a very close captain call, but I stuck with Saka for this week. Then alongside him in the middle, Tony is my next transfer in. So he's come back into my team. So for those that have followed my streams this season, they knew last week I took a -4 and brought Darwin Núñez in. He had that disallowed goal in the second game. He got injured in the first game, which ended up being a bit of a pain for me. Bringing him back in on a -4, Tony, is actually costing me about 6 points overall with the hit this week and the hit last week. But you've just got to write it off. Tony should make those points back up for me in the double game week next week and the double game week in 29 if he doesn't get banned, because he's obviously got this potential gambling ban, in the works. And 2, he's 2 yellow cards away from a 2-match suspension. So that does worry me, because if Tony gets booked tonight, then next week he gets booked in the first game. He then misses the second game. So I think an ideal thing from an FPL manager's point of view is for him just to not get any bookings until game week 29. And then he'll most likely survive both double game weeks. If he does get a booking, we're probably going to want it in the first game next week. And then for him to get the ban in the second game next week. So then you can just transfer him out afterwards. But for now, he's in my team. He's got an expected points of 4, plays at Fulham at home. And then Harry Kane, 5.2 points expected away at Wolves. Very, very consistent this season. Seems to return most weeks. So he is there. He was another very close captain call for me. But it's just 2 hit and miss Spurs are. Although he's consistent, I think there's double-digit scores potentially for the likes of Saka and Haaland. So before I go through my bench, we have had some questions come in from Lexich, from Matthew Gadsden and PSB. So I will go through those shortly. I'll just finish off the rest of my lineup. And on my bench, I've got Ward from Leicester. I prefer to play Kepa in the home games award. I've got Kieran Trippier away at City. He's someone that I really struggle to bench because he's so high owned. And I think if I didn't have this back three here, which I think is slightly stronger this week, then I probably would play Kieran Trippier. So yeah, no room for Trippier this week, but that's tough. Like I would love to play him even in that City game because he's obviously so good from set pieces. Luke Shaw, I don't want to play him at Anfield, so he will not be in my lineup this week. He is fit to play, but I just think you've got to find ways to bench players at the end of the day. You can't play them all. And then Andreas Pereira, consistently on my bench this season, consistently getting points on my bench this season, but I just can't fit him in this week. So as you can see, this is my lineup. So Kepa in goal, back three of White, Tarkowski, Ben Mee, Rashford, March, Saka and Erdegaard, Haaland, Tony and Kane, and then a bench of Ward, Trippier, Shaw and Andreas. So I've got a 3-4-3 this week with the captain's armband on Saka and the vice captain on Harry Kane. So that is my team selection. Let me know what you think in the comments. The questions have started to come in, so I will bring them up shortly. I want to quickly go through my captains and differential picks for this week. So let's bring them up now. All ready for the game week 26, which is it's about 45 minutes, 44 minutes. So be sure to get your transfers in before deadline. So this week, captains, Saka number one captain with that fixture against Bournemouth. I'm going to go Haaland now as my number two captain. He's just too good at home. 4 hat-tricks at home this season. Newcastle's starting to lose a bit of their form. Harry Kane's my number 3, just so consistent. Always seems to be getting points. So he's number 3 away at Wolves. And then number 4 will be Tony at home to Fulham. It's either going to go one way or the other. He's either going to get a yellow card and 1 point, or he's going to come out and grab a couple of goals with the betting ban that he is potentially going to get soon. Well, he will get. We just don't know when he's going to get that ban. So that's my captain picks. Let's go to my differentials. So I'm going to go Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa, who plays at home to Palace. 5 returns in his last 5. He is 6.5% owned. Emerson Royal, 2.6%. Didn't play in the week against Sheffield United. Very high chance of starting away at Wolves, who I did mention earlier. Do not score many goals. Have not had a striker score a goal in 12 months today. He's got 5 returns in his last 6. And then my next differential pick is Ferguson from Brighton, 1.8% owned, home to West Ham. He's looking sharp. He's got a double game week next week and a double game week in game week 29 as well. And then my last pick, 1.4% owned, Henry from Brentford, Rico Henry, double game week in 27, double game week in 29, and a home fixture this week against Fulham in a Brentford team that hasn't lost for 11 matches and has a really, really good home record as well. So that is all of my differentials. Alexic did ask for some differentials. So that is all my differentials from this week. So let's go through some of the questions that have come in. If you are new to the stream, please get your questions in now. This is the live Q&A before deadline. Be sure to like the video. If you haven't done, please just take 5 seconds now to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're new here as well. So let's bring up this comment from Akash. So he has asked, I'm 80 points behind in my mini league with friends. Is it worth the risk to remove Haaland and have Kane, Watkins and Tony as my 3 strikers? I'd say no this week. If you can get a combination of Haaland and Kane, or Haaland and Tony, or Haaland and Watkins, then I'd probably say that's more of a preference than losing Haaland this week. I think there's enough double game weeks. There's enough blank game weeks coming up from now to the end of the season for you to make 80 points up. So you need to make a target to be, 10 points, 5 to 10 points better off than your friend over the next, up until game week, 34, because you've got yourself then 8 game weeks, which would be 40 points. If you get 5 more points, or even, the 80 points you'll make back. So you need to set that as a target rather than making rash moves. I think you can make leeway elsewhere. So, I wouldn't suggest taking out Haaland just yet. Definitely can do it in blank game week 28, but not for this week, in my opinion, especially because Haaland's got a good fixture in game week 27 as well. So Lexit has just asked who to start between March and Matoma. That's tough. Personal choice. I've got March in my team, so obviously I'm starting March. I considered bringing in Matoma, but I already have March for this week. I think you can have both of them next week. And, the question next week will be who to start out of Saka and Odegaard, because a lot of people have got Saka and Odegaard. And next week, a lot of people have March and Matoma, Saka and Odegaard, and you won't be able to fit them all in. This week, I think it's personal choice. I did read a stat that March has never actually scored in the month of March, so that might sway it towards Matoma. So yeah, tough one, but I'd say personal choice. But I'm starting March because March is in my team. Welcome to the stream, Matt. He has asked, who would you recommend as a good forward to replace Nketiah if I cannot afford Kane? I'm currently looking at Watkins. I'm ahead of a family member by around 50 points, and I need to keep my lead. Well, if it's the family member I'm thinking of, I'm not sure if he's going to have Ollie Watkins in his team. So I'd probably say Ollie Watkins isn't the worst pick right now. He's got 5 returns in 5, obviously for Villa. I think for Nketiah, he's probably one of the best picks. Ferguson from Brighton as well. So if you don't have much money, Ferguson from Brighton is a really good pick. So I think you can't go wrong with either one of those two. But yeah, good luck for the game week to Matthew Gadsden. PSB, welcome to the stream, mate. Hope you're well. Let me know your captain thoughts in the comments as well. Obviously, we know that you've got a very good captain record in FPL. Is a Kanji to Estupinan worth a hit? I'd say yes. I know a Kanji, he has a chance of starting in this first game for City, and he could get a clean sheet. Newcastle haven't scored. They've had a lot of draws in big games this season, 0-0. And the reason I said I don't think it's the worst idea losing a clean sheet from a Kanji, even if Estupinan doesn't get an attacking or defensive return this week, is because I think if you've got him ready-made for next week, which is Brighton's double in game week 29, and I'm pretty sure you're obviously not planning to wildcard or free hit in any of those double game weeks. So I think if you get Estupinan in now, it gives you that flexibility to make more additions to your team from Brighton and Brentford next week. So I reckon you can take the hit this week because Estupinan's got a good enough fixture. I think sometimes it's worth taking the hits if it suits the shape of your team for future game weeks, even if you get some short-term pain with a Kanji. I was mentioning earlier, I brought Darwin in on a -4 last week. I'm taking him out on a -4. I'm losing 6 points effectively from the move, and sometimes you just gotta accept it for the goodness of your team. Welcome to the stream, Martin Watchhorn from This Is Wrestling Film. Thanks for the vote of confidence in my team. He has come in with a couple of questions, which is good to see. Nketiah is flagged. Do I change him to Mbeumo, or do I take a hit so I can bring in Watkins? Hit would be Pickford and Eddie out for Fraser, Forster, and Watkins. I don't mind the Forster shout because there's a couple of good fixtures. Wolves don't score many goals. Spurs now playing game week 28 at home to Southampton. So there's a chance of a couple of clean sheets. In saying that, Southampton's always one of those games where you never know if a clean sheet's going to happen because Ward-Prowse is so good at free kicks. But yeah, look, I actually do like the Nketiah straight swap from Mbeumo because you're going to get 2 games out of him next week, 2 games in game week 29. And if Tony does get suspended, you've got that guaranteed attacking threat with Brentford anyway. So I actually don't mind that one. At the same time, because I look at Pickford and I think Pickford's actually a decent option this week away at Forest. So I don't mind that one. I think you can find a way for Ollie Watkins in game week 29 if you need Ollie Watkins in game week 29. You've got Mbeumo in there as a straight swap anyway. So I actually do really like that. And also this man, Ferguson, cheap, gives you a Brighton asset. They're on form and they've got a number of double game weeks coming up as well. Chat Stop Football, welcome to the stream. Great channel, so go and check him out and subscribe. Big Brentford fan, so this is a big game week for Chat Stop Football and all of us who are looking at putting Brentford players in ready for next week's double game week. WB, welcome to the stream. Who would be my pick from Spurs defense if you had to choose one? If you're not going to go Fraser Forster because he's obviously a cheap goalkeeper, I would say it's either Ben Davies or Emerson Royale. The reason I'll say Emerson Royale is edging it at the moment is because he didn't play in the week. He seems to be preferred in the league games. He's got 5 returns in his last 6. He's really good with the bonus points. There is sometimes that possibility of a rotation, but right now he seems to be favoured. One bonus of Emerson as well is when it's getting to sort of the 70th minute of games, if Spurs are winning the game 1-0, 2-0, which may or may not happen, but he then will get subbed off usually for Pedro Porro, which gives you Emerson Royale will then bank the clean sheet and he'll be on bonus. He always seems to get on the bonus because he's involved in the game a lot. And he's been really, really impressive for Spurs lately. So I would say Emerson Royale for sure. And Jermaine, welcome to the stream, mate. Great to have you in again. And everyone that's just joined the stream, we've got some good viewers right now. So please take this next 5 seconds of your time just to like the stream. Subscribe if you are new here. And this part now is the Q&A. So get your questions in. I'm going through every single question. We are about half an hour away until deadline as well. So please subscribe if you're new. Get your questions in and like this stream. PSB, he believes, so between the March and Matoma debate, PSB thinks March is the better pick as West Ham concede most chances down March's side. So there's some good intel there from PSB. Obviously, I mentioned earlier, March is my pick in my team. So yeah, if you've got Solly March, definitely play him this week. Chatstop Football has taken a -4 to do Darwin and Bueno to me and Watkins. I like that because Bueno is just a cheap and cheerful option, in that defence view. He's not someone that, he just fills your squad really as a cheap enabler. He's not someone, that you're really going to want to keep long term in your team. And Darwin, I do think he's got the potential to score over the next couple of game weeks, but Watkins, he's got the form, he's got the fixtures, he's got a good double. So those transfers make sense to me. PSB is also on Saka. We've had a couple of other questions come in, so we'll go with Jermaine's question first. So he has asked, is there anyone not playing their wild card? I feel like I'm one of the very few against it this game week. Already have Tony and Matoma and only 2 Liverpool assets with Darwin going out. Well, you're not the only one. For those that were in the stream earlier, I did do my team selection and I'm not wildcarding. I'm going to navigate transfers all the way through up until probably game week 30 to sort of 32 time. I want to try and keep my wildcard and free hit for the run-in. The way I see this is there's plenty of teams, English teams in Europe right now that could crash out of Europe over the next either the round of 16 or the quarterfinals. If that happens and they're involved in double game weeks towards the end of the season, you're going to want to load up on those players. If you've got a free hit or a wild card, it's going to be really, really valuable. There's potentially lots of doubles coming up from sort of game week 33, 34 onwards, blank game weeks in 32, that type of thing. I think there's enough players in our teams for the most part to navigate game week 26, 27, 28 and 29. From all the wild cards I'm seeing the same players, and I'm also seeing four sort of changes. And I just think you can navigate those 4 changes from now until double game week 29 with transfers or a couple of hits. But each to their own. Is team dependent. It depends how much your team needs. So yeah, don't stress too much if you're not playing your wild card right now, mate, because I'm not, and I know plenty of other managers that aren't. Welcome to the stream, Malta. I'm going to guess, are you maybe Swedish with the surname? I could be wrong, so sorry if I'm wrong. Maybe Swedish with a name like that. I'm not too sure, but great to have you in the stream, mate. Welcome to the stream. So if you are new here, please subscribe. Keep getting your comments in. Would I pick Dunk or could I pick Dunk instead of Estupinan? I'll tell you what, I did have Dunk in my team. So from game week 17 onwards, I had Dunk in my team this whole time. I had him in and I took him out last game week. And the reason I had Dunk in was because I knew Brighton had so many double game weeks. If Dunk comes out and scores a header or big points, I'll be very, very annoyed because I had him in for so long. But you can pick him because he's a set piece threat. He's cheap and he starts every single game as well. But I think SG Pinan is a better player to pick for the price because he's just so attacking. But at the same time, like there's no harm in picking Dunk as well because he's still a set piece threat. And thanks to Chat Stop Football who has liked and shared the video. So I really appreciate all of the support and anyone that is able to share the stream or subscribe or like or comment. So thanks so much to Chat Stop Football. WB said he's on wildcard. All the Twitter wildcards are identical. I have a feeling about Maddison this week. Southampton are shocking and he could haul, but I'm scared of not having two Brighton mids. Thing is though, like next week's a good week to have two Brighton midfielders. Surely like you could squeeze in the two Brighton midfielders elsewhere next week. And this week you can have Maddison. And then with Maddison, you've got this good fixture in 26. Always seems to do well in these types of games. Always on set pieces, always on the ball. Has a fixture in game week 28 as well, and a double game week in 29. It's not the worst idea getting onto Maddison right now. So yeah, I don't think it's I don't think it's the worst move, mate. What do I think about Trossard? Welcome to the stream, Rafik. From an FPL point of view, I think when he gets minutes, he will get points because he's one of those players that when he plays, he's always on the ball. He's always getting in attacking positions. He's always creating chances and he's getting shots on goal. So when he gets the minutes, he's a good pick. When he was at Brighton and when he was playing every game or on a consistent run of games, he was someone you wanted in your team because he could get a really big double-digit score. Right now, he will get points for Arsenal, but there's too many better players that start for Arsenal that you can have. Saka, Odegaard, even Martinelli, who's starting the games. They're better picks for me. I know Trossard might play in that centre forward position instead of Nketiah, but Jesus is on the way back. For me, you just look at Trossard as he's a sub basically for Arsenal that will come in and out of the team. So yeah, for me, I think Trossard, great player, good FPL asset when he's consistently starting games, but there's better options right now. Great to have you in the stream. Fazna, who should I captain? Kane, Haaland, De Bruyne, or Haaland? Look, I've got a Spurs top on, so I could easily say Harry Kane, but I'm not going to. I'm going to say Haaland between those because Haaland's in. Obviously, they're a better side. Man City are a better side. The fixture's probably tougher on paper, Newcastle than Wolves, but City are at home. Haaland's got 4 hat-tricks at home this season in the league. He is the top scorer in the Premier League. For me, if that was my choices, it's Haaland, then it's Kane, then it's De Bruyne. This is Wrestling Film. Great insight. Thanks, Matt. Everyone watching, check out Matt's socials as well. The threads on Twitter are a go for me every week. Mate, thanks for that. I really appreciate the support. So, yeah, if you head to my Twitter, at FPL Matt Day, the links are in the video links as well. You can find it on my YouTube page. I've got a weekly thread on there as well. So I post it every single week, every single game week. It's got captains, it's got differentials. And then I update it throughout the week as well when things change or if any other players come to mind. So, yeah, really appreciate the support, mate. And Connor, welcome to the stream. Play 2 of Tarkowski, Shaw, and me. Well, what I'm going to do for those that have only just tuned in over the last 10 minutes, I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you the exact answer to that question for you. So here we go. So I'm playing Tarkowski and I'm playing Ben Mee. So if you scroll down to my bench, Luke Shaw, he's flagged, but they reckon he's fit to play. If he's carrying a niggle, United have got the options on that side anyway to play someone else. He's got 4.1 expected points there. That's FPL tools. But I'm looking at it and I'm playing Ben Mee. He's got 5.3 expected points. fifth top scoring defender in FPL this season. Big set piece threat. Plays on the Monday night as well. I think he's a really good option at home to Fulham. So for me, I'm going for Luke Shaw's brilliant, but I think Anfield is a difficult game. I sort of predicted 2-2. And I think Mee has got a good opportunity to get a clean sheet and some bonus and maybe even nick a goal. Tarkowski as well, more expected points than Shaw. But I look at that game against Forest, and I think I mentioned with Tarkowski that Everton, these are the games Everton need to win to survive. It's not about the games away at Arsenal or the games away at Man City or, those types of games. It's these games against Forest. So they could come out and nick this 1-1-0. They've got to keep it tight at the back. Again, he just seems to be a set piece threat nearly every game he plays. And he owes us points after what happened in game week 25. So, yeah, we've ended up with the same dilemma there. So, as you just said, wow, we've had the same dilemma. I had the same thoughts. I was like, what do I do? Can't bench Shaw, surely not. But I looked at it and I thought, I'm going to try something different this week. So, yeah, it's I've got the same dilemma, and I'm going with Tarkowski and Ben Mee. Who is the Brighton midfielder to leave out? So we've all come to the conclusion that we're going to play Solly March. I think if I had March and Matoma, I would play both. I'd probably play both. You've got to find someone else to leave out potentially. But at the same time, the thing is, at the same time, you sometimes have to expect to leave points on your bench. If you put March in your lineup and he gets 3 points and Matoma gets 10, you've lost 7 points. That's what you've lost. And you're not going to pick the right team every single week. There's going to be a week. Next week's a big one. Game week 29 is another big one where everyone's squads are just going to have so many good players on the bench. You obviously only get one bench boost. So there's going to be game weeks where you're just going to have to make decisions. You got to look at your team and your squad, and you're going to have to say to yourself, he's going on the bench. He might score, might keep a clean sheet, might get an assist, but I'm just going to have to sacrifice his points this week because you can't play everyone every week. And right now, there's actually some really good fixtures, some really good double game weeks, and it's becoming tough for managers. So, yeah, if you can play both, play both. The general consensus from the viewers tonight are saying March, and I've got March in my team, but if you can play both, play both. We've got another question from Haida. White, Trippier, Mee, Akanji, and Tarkowski. Well, I think for those that have stayed in the stream the whole time will already know my answer. It will be Ben White, home to Bournemouth. Ben Mee, home to Fulham, set piece threat. The Tarkowski and Akanji one is difficult because I said Tarkowski over Shaw because I prefer Tarkowski over Shaw this week. Would I play Tarkowski over Akanji? That's a more difficult one. I'd probably go with the Man City defender, but again, I would probably see if you can get some early team news, either on Team News and Ticks on Instagram, City Watch on Twitter, or the Blue Moon Forum, and see if anyone's got any early team news for Man City. Because if Akanji starts, I'd probably then say play him. But then if he doesn't start, you'd expect him not to come off the bench, and then you get Tarkowski anyway. So yeah, that's a tough one. Chat stop football. Badiashile from Chelsea or Robertson. Ooh, I think I mentioned it earlier. Like I can see the Chelsea Leeds game being a 1-0 Chelsea or a 1-0 Leeds. I think it's going to be a tight game, a nervy game. I don't think there'll be many goals. I'd still back. It's tough. And Badiashile didn't start against Spurs last time. I'll back Robbo in that one. Attacking fullback. You're going for an attack and return because I did say I think there'll be goals in that one. Welcome to the stream, to Blues podcast. Go and check him out. Big Chelsea fan as well. So if you've got any Chelsea problems, go and check his channel out and give him a subscribe. Welcome to the stream, mate. Jack as well. Play both Brighton mids over a Brighton defender. Tough one. I'd say yes, because West Ham are battling. Struggling obviously with the relegation battle at the moment. I think they've got that there could be goals in this game. West Ham have still got the quality in there with Danny Ings, Bowen, Paqueta. So they're capable of scoring a goal. Brighton have been notorious this season as well for letting in a late goal to wipe out FPL points. So I'd go with a Brighton mid over a Brighton defender. Two Blues podcast, big Chelsea fan asking, are you taking any Chelsea players this week? Easy fixtures, but Thiago Silva and James are out, which is a big point. Silva out, so that obviously must mean Badia Chile has got a higher chance of playing, unless obviously Fofana comes on, because he did play against Spurs off the bench. James is out. I feel with Reece James, obviously he's a brilliant player, but he's been injured for a lot of this season in FPL, so that bit doesn't worry me as much. I'm keeping Kepa. So I did my lineup. Kepa stays in goal over Danny Ward. I always say with Southampton, which is who Leicester have got, they can score at any moment because of the set piece threat from James Ward-Prowse. Chelsea at home at the Bridge is still a tough place to go. I know that was the 1-0 game against Saints last time, but that was just a free kick, really. If that doesn't go in, that game probably ends 0-0. So I'm keeping Kepa this week. I know a lot of Chelsea fans are upset at the moment and not happy with the results, but I saw enough in that first 45 minutes against Spurs where Chelsea, for me, I thought they were the better team for the first 20, 25 minutes. They had a lot of the ball. I was impressed with Felix. I know over 90 minutes, Spurs obviously won the game, which I was happy with as a Spurs fan, but I'd still be playing my Chelsea defenders or goalkeepers this week. But yeah, I probably wouldn't be going near your attackers, mate, just because there's not been any goals in that Chelsea team. But defence, Kepa's shown he's got so many double-digit scores over the last couple of months. Pinnock instead of me, at 0.1 cheaper, and data is a little bit better. I'm still going Ben Mee. He's the 5th top scoring defender. Big set piece threat. I know he's cheaper. And maybe the data at the moment saying that Pinnock's a better choice, but for 0.1 million, I'm going Ben Mee every time. I think the overall points show that. And Chatstock Football just come in. He's a big Brentford fan. Pinnock has a lot less attacking threat. So Ben Mee for us. And Two Blues podcast. My man, welcome. And then Connor, just with another question. He's gone McAllister. He's not using a wild card next week, so it can change. I think it's a positive that I have more info on the likes of Tony. Alexis McAllister scoring a lot of points at the start of the season. He's one of those that a lot of people are staying away from right now. They're going Solly March, they're going Matoma, they're going Estupinan, they're going Ferguson. But if McAllister scores this week, it's going to throw a big spanner in the works for double game week 27 for Brighton. So that could be a really good early shout. So yeah, good luck. But look, we've got 15, 16, 17 minutes until the deadline. I've done my team selection. I've done my differentials and captains tonight. So thanks to everyone who has tuned in. If there's any last minute questions, please get them in right now in the next sort of 10, 20 seconds or so. And I will quickly go through them. So continue to get them in. And then I'll probably then wrap up if I don't get any more that'll come in. Chat did ask, what about Henry versus me? I like Rico Henry from fullback on that left side. He's very, very attacking. I had the opportunity to get either one, and I still went Ben Mee. I just think he's just such a threat attacking those set pieces. Henry like I said, he's a big differential, and I think if value was an issue, if money was an issue, I'd go Henry. But picking between the two, it's still Ben Mee for me. And Jermaine has just transferred out Darwin for Felix and hopes he smashes it. It was either him or Watkins, but Palace defense is better than Leeds. It's a bold move. Like Chelsea obviously haven't been scoring many goals. Felix looks sharp though. Every time I watch him, I'm really impressed. And he did score that goal away at West Ham. This could be the week because we all thought it was going to be Felix's week a couple of game weeks ago. It wasn't. Everyone's since transferred him out. You never know. This could be the week. So good luck. And I like that you've gone differential. But look, we'll look to wrap it up there if I don't get any more questions in the next sort of minute or so. Like I've said on the stream before, if you can please take 5 seconds of your time, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't done already, like the stream as well. Get any extra comments in. Our Mo is in the stream, so welcome into the stream. So we'll quickly go through this. Welcome to the stream, Mo. Giving Martinelli the captain armband over Haaland, would you talk me out of it? I don't like talking people out of stuff when we're this close to deadline, and I feel like you've given the armband to Martinelli for a reason. He's just come off 26 points. Good home game against Bournemouth. I think captaining any one of Saka, Odegaard, or Martinelli could all be quite similar this week. I don't think there's going to be much in it between the three. So I don't want to talk you out of it because I like Haaland. I think I mentioned earlier 4 hat-tricks at home this season. I think he scores in this Newcastle game. I think he may even get 2 goals. But I don't want to talk you out of something that if you've got it on Martinelli this close to deadline, there's a reason you've done it. So stick with your gut, mate. But best of luck. And Jack just saying good luck to everyone. And thanking everyone for their questions. Chat Stop Football also says he would go with me. He doesn't think Rico scores many goals. Chat Stop Football, go check him out. Subscribe to his channel as well. He is a big Brentford fan. So if you want to know about Brentford players for double game week 27, double game week 29, and tonight, you go check his channel out. He knows his stuff and he knows Brentford as well. So thank you, everyone. Looks like we've got some team news for City as well. So let's, you know what, I'm going to stay on the stream whilst this news is coming in. So Jack has just said Mahrez benched in City team news. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to go check out some City team news and see if I can get some early team news for everyone whilst we're live on the stream. So stay tuned in. Let's see if we can get some team news. We've got news at Mahrez's bench. If anyone's still got Mahrez, then it looks like he's been benched. Let's see what team news we can get. All right, so Mahrez benched is all we've got here. Let's see what else we can get. I'll go to City Extra on Twitter and we'll see what team news is on there. So we've got here, Riyad Mahrez does not start. They've predicted Foden on the right wing, Akanji and Rodri. So they're saying they think Akanji returns. I'm going to go to the Blue Moon Forum. And let's see what they're saying on there. There has been some comments as well. Mark Joy has asked a question. So I will get to your question shortly. I know we're getting closer to deadline. So I will get to any questions that come in now. I will get to, as deadline is in 13 minutes. I just want to find this Man City team news. Okay, Grealish starts. So Jack Grealish starts. All I've got so far is Mahrez not starting, but I've got Grealish starts. There's nothing else I can see right now. So that's what I found on Blue Moon. So if you've got Mahrez, transfer him out because he's been benched. And no worries, Mo. Mark has asked, rate my team: Kepa, Tarkowski, White, me, Rashford, Saka, Odegaard, Mitoma, Tony, Haaland, captain, and Kane. Strong, mate. That's strong. Easily a 9 to 9.5 out of 10. You've got 3 Arsenal players in a good fixture. Ben Mee and Tarkowski, I've already spoke about, them for this week. Kane, goals, Mitoma, good fixture, and Tony as well. So very strong team. So we've got some rumours that Foden doesn't start, and Jermaine still has Mahrez, who's going to play Mitoma, which is a good choice. I'm glad you stayed in the stream, mate. So to bench Mahrez. And Jack said Foden might be starting now. So yeah, if you have got Foden, maybe keep him because we're hearing that he should be starting this game. But I will look to log off because there's 11 minutes until deadline, and I don't want people to miss their transfers, miss the deadline, not save their team in time, not get their captain in time. So again, one last thanks to everyone that has supported the stream tonight. Please take that 5 seconds of your time now to subscribe to the channel, to like the video, and get any additional comments in if you do watch this on pre-record as well. Thanks everyone that tuned in. Bye for now. Thanks Chat Stop Football as well. See you, mate. Thanks Jack. Thanks Jermaine. Thanks Mark for the comments. Thanks everyone that's come in tonight. PSB, Two Blues Podcast, Connor Mullen, Malta, Fazman, WB, Lexic, Martin Watchhorn as well. So thanks to everyone that's come in tonight. Really appreciate all the support, and good luck for Game Week 26. I'm at FPL Matt Day, and I will see you all in the next one, which will be the UEFA Champions League stream in ready for the second legs this week. So I'll see you all there. Good luck for the game week. Bye for now.